up, you guys? This is Scott from Distortion Limited and the band Dishwalla. So this is my 10th video for Distortion Limited, and I couldn't be more stoked to show off the new bass amp from Orange. So the Terror bass came back. This is going to make a lot of bass players around the world very happy. When I look at the forums pages around the world, a lot of players always ask, what happened to the Terror bass? This thing was awesome originally. Well, they've really improved on it, and I'll tell you why. Aid Emsley, who's the head designer at Orange, who designed the 8200, has essentially put that preamp section now in the smallest amp that they make. So the sound is much like the 8200. It's very full and rich and tubey, and it's got just a beautiful sounding overdrive. Another thing that's unique to it is the effects loop also is tube driven, which is kind of unique to Orange tube amplifiers. A lot of manufacturers don't do that. The DI sounds phenomenal. I took this thing on a one-off last week with Dishwalla, and the front of house engineer, she does sound for David Byrne and the Breeders and all kinds of artists, and she gets on the talk back to the stage. She's like, "Is that the DI off the head?" I'm like, "Yeah." It sounds beautiful. It's really tubey and warm sounding, so no need for an effects pedal that's another tube DI or something. And just use this, So anyway, super lightweight. I put it in my carry-on bag. Worked out great. So anyway, I'm going to take you through some classic tracks, just some of my favorite grooves with this thing. And then we'll go into features and controls, and then I'll isolate it, just the amp on its own, and run through it with a few different basses for you guys to check it out. All right, you guys, let's check this thing out. So no manual necessary with the Terror bass. We've got the input pad, which is cool if you've got an active instrument. Just leave it off if you want to send more gain on into the preamp stage though. Clean if you need to run a cleaner tone. Opening it up, again, will send more drive to the first tube. Got your gain control. So if you want to get more grit going, you just bring this on up, bring your master on down, kind of level it on out. Bass, middle, treble. So super straightforward EQ section. It is really musical. It's subtle, but in all honesty, the amp just sounds so darn nice flat. I was really only having to increase, you know, a little bit of bass, a little bit of treble there, or whatever you need to do, but the amp just sounds so darn nice that I didn't really need to EQ a whole heck of a lot. Master volume. This amp has got a standby, much like at the 8200 or any big full-size tube amp with a tube output stage. When it's time to rock, just flip it to on. Now the DI sounds freaking beautiful on this thing. Super straightforward. It's not pre or post, it's just post, okay? Got a ground flip, effects loop if you want to go there. In the back of the unit, we've got the impedance switch, 8 ohm or 4, speak on only. That's it. Simple as that. Let's check out some sounds on this thing. We're going to leave it on the clean setting for now. Mess with the gain a little bit, mess with the EQ too. And I thought since we're using a 15, it might be a good place to start with some Motown kind of vibe. Let's do some little some pick stuff here. You bring the top end up a little bit. And bring that up a bit more. We're still in clean mode here. All right, you guys, so I've decided to switch to a different bass here, and I'll go to a different bass one more time for the end, for the full-on overdrive of this amp opened all the way up. As you can see, though, we're running the input stage pretty hot. We've got the EQ just flat here. Not real loud, though. We've got the output section just sitting down real low, just for recording here. But this is just sort of a general good sounding amp drive. It probably sounds quite a bit like the 8200 given the input stage breaking up. It's super touch sensitive. Just sounds so nice and creamy. All right, you guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. So this is pretty much what it sounds like. Again, we're running it pretty quiet right now on the output section. There's no breakup from the speaker. This is only from the input section of this thing. So this is tube overdrive, what you're hearing. This is the real deal. So we're still not maxed out yet. All right, let's open her up. It's just really sweet and creamy sounding when you play quietly. All right, you guys, thanks so much for checking out the Terror Bass with me. I really think Orange has nailed it with this amp. And do we need to be breaking our backs with these all-tube things anymore? I don't know. From a live perspective, the overdrive is just so believable on this thing. I mean, it is the same input section from the AD200. It just doesn't weigh anything. I just love this amp. But if you're a bassist that's looking for a versatile option, something that obviously does the clean thing really well, but then also can do the dirty, distorted stuff really well in a traditional, Orange rock fashion, this is a great way to go. There's gonna be lots of information coming up in the near future from Orange on this thing. Got Winter NAMM coming up, so I'm sure they're gonna be blowing this thing up. But at any rate, thanks for checking it out. And if you like this bass content at Distortion Limited, please like and subscribe. Thanks, you guys.